All right, so here are the next set of notes. And what happens if I'm given 2 points instead of just a point and a slope? And how do I write the equation there? So if I'm given 2 points, what we already know how to do is find the slope. And so then once we find the slope, then we can use the point slope formula. So just remember that the slope formula is y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2, right? So you just subtract the y's over subtract the x's. And so once you find the slope, then we're going to plug it into the point slope formula. And now because with this type we're given 2 points, it doesn't matter which point we actually use in the point slope. We can use either one of the options that are given. Okay? All right, so in this example 7, the first thing we're going to need to do is actually find the slope between these 2 points. So we're going to fill it in. Slope equals subtract the y values over subtract the x values. So we know that 7 minus a negative 1 is 8, and then negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. And then we always simplify. So 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. So now we have the slope of negative 2. We can now use point slope. And it doesn't matter if you use the point negative 37 or the point 1 negative 1. In the point slope formula, you're still going to get the same equation. So let's go ahead and try it. So I'm going to use the point negative 37. So we get y minus the y value, just 7, equals the slope of negative 2 times x minus the x value of negative 3. And now I like to clean up those extra negatives, so I'm going to go ahead and simplify that. Y minus 7 is equal to negative 2 times x plus 3. Now distribute and then solve for y. So we have y minus 7 equals negative 2x minus 6. And now we're going to add 7 to both sides. So we're left with y is equal to negative 2x plus 1. Okay? So now we have our equation as y is equal to negative 2x plus 1. Good. So you don't erase what you have. I'm going to erase this, and then I'm going to actually show you with the other point and show you that we still get y is equal to negative 2x plus 1. So we want to make sure if I use either point, we both see that we'll still get y equals negative 2x plus 1. So now we're going to use the point 1, negative 1. So we already know the slope, and we have our point. So we're going to do y minus the y value of negative 1 equals the slope times x minus 1. Now, because we have double negatives, I'm going to go ahead and clean that up. So I got y plus 1 equals negative 2 times x minus 1. And now I'm going to go ahead and distribute. So we get y plus 1 equals negative 2x plus 2. And then we're going to subtract 1 from both sides. And so we end up with y is equal to negative 2x plus 1, which is the same as what we had with the other point. And so I just wanted to show you that doesn't matter which point we pick, we will always get the same. If it's done correctly, we'll get the same equation. All right, so let's try number 8. We got the point negative 6, 7 and the point 3, negative 4. So the first thing we need to do is actually find the slope. So we're going to subtract the y's, negative 7 minus negative 4, over subtract the x's, negative 6 minus 3. Okay. So then we have negative 7 minus a negative 4, which is negative 3. And then negative 6 minus 3, so negative 9. Always simplify. A negative 3 over a negative 9 is a positive 1/3. So we know our slope is 1/3. And now I'm just going to pick a point. So I'm going to pick that one, and I'm going to go ahead and plug this into our equation for point slope. So we get y minus the y value, which is negative 4, equals a slope of 1/3 times x minus 3. And now I'm going to clean up these extra negatives. So y plus 4 equals 1/3 times x minus 3. And now I'm going to distribute and solve. So we have y plus 4 equals 1/3 x minus 1. And then subtract 4 from both sides. Y is equal to 1/3 x minus 5. And so that's the equation of the line. All right, let's try it again. Let's try for example 9. The first thing we need to do is find the slope. So we are going to subtract the y values over subtract the x values. So we got -1 minus a -6, which is a +5. And then we have 2 minus 4, which is -2. So we have a slope of -5/2. All right, so now we're just going to pick a point and plug it into the point slope. So we have y, and our y value is -1, so y minus -1 equals our slope of -5/2 times x minus 2. I'm going to clean up my extra negatives. So I got y plus 1 equals -5/2 x minus 2. And now I'm going to distribute. So I get y plus 1 equals -5/2 x plus 5. And then we're going to subtract 1 from both sides. So now we're left with y is equal to -5/2 x plus 4. Okay. And then let's do number 10. First things first, we got 2 points, so we need to figure out the slope. So slope is subtract the y's over subtract the x's. So we have -8 minus 7, which is -15, over -3 minus 2, which is a -5. And -15 divided by -5 is a +3. So we have a slope of +3, and now we're just going to pick a point and plug it into the point slope formula. So I'm going to use 2, 7. So we have y minus the y value of 7 is equal to the slope times x minus the x value. So now we're going to distribute because I don't have any negatives to clean up. And then add 7 to both sides. Y is equal to 3x plus 1. And so now you have your equation in slope-intercept form. So what I want you to do right now is pause the video, and then you answer questions 11 and 12. Remember, it doesn't matter which point you use to plug in the point slope, you should end up with the same answer. Okay? So pause the video, and then you go ahead and work those out, and then you can come back for the answer. Okay, so for number 6, when I found the slope, I got a slope of +1. Then I plugged that in, and I used the first point, -6, -3, but you could have used either point. And I ended up with the equation y is equal to x plus 3. And number 12, I found the slope to be -1/2. And then I used the second point, 6, 2. And when I plug that in, I end up with the equation y equals -1/2 x plus 5. And you could have used -4, 7. It doesn't matter. And you should have still come up with the same answer. Okay, that's it.